Welcome to the SmartKeys podcast. I have to make a bit of a confession to start us off today. For the longest time, whenever I heard the word franchise, my brain just immediately defaulted to a very specific, somewhat greasy image. I'm
Mhm.
picturing a deep fryer, a paper hat, and maybe a teenager asking me if I want to upgrade my combo meal. It feels, I don't know, dated.
Oh, you are definitely not alone in that. That stereotype is incredibly sticky.
Right.
It's ingrained in pop culture. But if we rely on that image, we are missing what is arguably one of the most sophisticated shifts in the modern business landscape.
That is exactly why I wanted to do this deep dive today. We're unpacking a fascinating article titled Franchise Model Evolution, Modernizing a Classic Growth Strategy by Felix Römer from smartkeys.org. And I have to say, Römer paints a picture that looks nothing like a fast food counter. We aren't just talking about flipping burgers.
No, we are talking about a high-tech, scalable asset class. It's a complete rebrand of the concept. Rumor uses a phrase early in the text that I think just anchors this entire discussion perfectly. He calls modern franchising entrepreneurship with guardrails.
Entrepreneurship with guardrails. I love that phrasing. It implies safety, but you're still moving forward.
Exactly. I mean, think about the current economic climate. It is volatile.
Yeah.
You have AI disrupting workflows, labor laws shifting overnight, digital marketing becoming a bottomless pit for ad spend if you don't know what you're doing. Starting a business from scratch right now,
It's a huge risk.
it's high-risk behavior. It's walking a tightrope without a net.
So the franchise model is the net.
In a way, yes. The value proposition here is bypassing that 0 to 1 phase.
Yeah.
You aren't inventing the product. You aren't coding the website. You aren't A/B testing the logo.
You're stepping into a machine that is already built.
Yes. You're trading some autonomy, because you do have to follow their rules, for a significantly higher probability of survival.
So let's pop the hood on this machine then. The article makes a big deal about the shift from renting a brand to,
You accessing a tech stack.
right, a tech stack. That feels like a massive pivot. 10 years ago, you bought a franchise to get the sign above the door. Now, rumor suggests you're buying it for the software.
That is the biggest differentiator in the last decade. In the old days, let's call it the business format era, you paid your 40 grand, and they handed you a heavy binder,
The operations manual.
operations manual. Good luck, read it, and hope for the best.
The doorstop method of training.
Right. Today, you are buying into a digital ecosystem. The article highlights specific tools like Client Tether. Now, on the surface, that sounds like just another CRM.
A customer relationship management tool, yeah.
But for a franchise operator, it's the difference between chaos and scale.
Because it automates the boring stuff.
It automates the critical stuff that we humans are historically bad at. Lead capture, immediate follow-up, scheduling. If you are a small business owner, how much time do you lose just playing phone tag or trying to remember who you promised a quote to last Tuesday?
A ton.
These modern platforms automate that entire administrative layer. It means you aren't buried in spreadsheets. You are free to focus on the high-value work, like closing sales or managing your team.
The article also mentions real-time dashboards. This
Yeah.
part really clicked for me. It's the difference between flying a plane with a window and flying with instruments.
That's a great analogy. If you run a standalone mom-and-pop shop, you usually find out you had a bad month. Well, next month.
When the accountant calls you with bad news.
Too late to fix it. Precisely. Modern franchise dashboards track KPIs, key performance indicators, in real time. We're talking average ticket size, conversion rates, inventory.
Wow.
You can see at 2.0 OPM on a Tuesday that your upsells are down, and you can course correct before dinner service. That data granularity turns a franchise from a shop into a manageable asset.
It essentially removes the emotional guesswork. But we should clarify something. Because not all franchises are created equal, right?
Not at all.
The article breaks down the different models, and I think it's easy for people to get confused here because they just see franchise as one big bucket. We know the business format, that's the McDonald's model. Turnkey.
Yes, that is the most common and the most comprehensive. You clone the business entirely. Marketing, ops, training, the look, the feel. It's rigid, but it's safe. It's designed for consistency.
But what about product distribution? Rumor mentions names like Coca-Cola or Goodyear tires. That feels different.
It is different. In that model, you aren't necessarily getting a script on how to say hello to customers. You are buying the territory and the exclusive rights of the supply chain.
So it's more about logistics.
It's more about distribution than operation. You're paying for the product name, the tire, the soda, not necessarily the operating system.
And then there's manufacturing, which just sounds terrifyingly expensive.
It is capital intensive. Think bottling plants. You are licensing the right to manufacture the product yourself, usually under incredibly strict quality controls. High barrier to entry, but usually high volume. You become the factory.
The one that really caught my eye in the article, though, was the hybrid model. It brought up ghost kitchens, specifically the Wendy's and Reef partnership. This feels like the future crashing into the present.
It's a brilliant adaptation to the gig economy. A ghost kitchen strips away the dining room, the prime real estate, the waitstaff. It's just a kitchen, often in a shipping container.
And a delivery radius, it's purely for the apps. Uber Eats, DoorDash.
Exactly. It transforms a restaurant franchise into a logistics play. It lowers the overhead dramatically and allows brands to test new markets without building a million-dollar building.
That's fascinating. It shows how much the model is morphing.
It's not a static industry at all.
Okay, so the models are evolving, the tech is impressive, but we have to talk about the vegetables.
The legal work.
The stuff nobody wants to read but will absolutely destroy you if you ignore it. We need to talk about the FDB, the franchise disclosure document.
If you take nothing else from this deep dive, take this. The FDD is your Bible.
Okay.
In the United States, the Federal Trade Commission mandates this document. It is usually 200 pages of dense legal text.
Yeah.
And you cannot skim it. You have to read every single page.
The article highlights a few specific items to look for, almost like a detective looking for clues. The big one seems to be item 19.
Item 19 is the financial performance representation. In plain English, how much money do these places actually make?
But there's a catch, right? The article says it's optional, which blew my mind.
That is the wild part. Franchisors are not required to tell you how much their franchisees make.
Yeah.
But if they choose to disclose it in item 19, it has to be accurate and backed by data.
So if I pick up an FDD and item 19 is blank, or it says, we do not make financial representations,
That is the loudest silence in the world.
it's a red flag.
It's a giant crimson banner. If they aren't showing you the numbers, you have to ask why. Are the numbers bad? Is the data messy? A robust, detailed item 19 signals confidence.
Okay, so item 19 is the potential reward. Where do we find the risk?
Item 3 and item 20. Item 3 is litigation. You want to know if the franchisor is getting sued, especially by their own franchisees.
So if a customer slips on a wet floor, that shows up here?
Not necessarily minor operational things, but systemic issues. If you see a class action lawsuit from 50 franchise owners claiming fraud, run away. It suggests a broken relationship.
Got it. And item 20, you described it as a satisfaction meter.
That is your churn rate. Item 20 lists how many units opened, closed, or were transferred in the last 3 years.
Transfers count as churn? I would have thought that's just someone retiring.
They can be a warning sign. A transfer means an owner got out before their contract was up. If you see a brand where 30% of the units change hands every year, that tells you the operators are unhappy.
It's a revolving door.
Exactly. You want to see stability and growth, not a revolving door.
That makes sense. Now, there's another danger zone the text mentions. Territory. We've all seen this happen. Successful sandwich shop opens, and 6 months later, corporate drops another one 3 blocks away.
Cannibalization. It's the fastest way to kill unit profitability. You're competing against your own team.
So how do you prevent that?
You negotiate. You need to look for exclusive rights in the contract. You want a defined radius where the franchisor cannot open another unit. But the article warns about a trap here, specifically with area development.
This is where you agree to open multiple units, right?
Yes. Let's say you sign a deal to open 5 gyms in 5 years. You get exclusivity for the whole city. But that exclusivity is usually tied to a schedule.
Use it or lose it.
Exactly. If you're supposed to open gym #2 by January 1st, and you get delayed by permitting, you breach the contract, they can strip your exclusivity, you have to be very realistic about those timelines.
That actually segues perfectly into the hierarchy of ownership, because it's not just buy a franchise. There are levels to this game.
It's a career ladder. The entry point is single unit ownership. This is the operator model. You are likely in the store, managing the shift.
Fixing the toilet when it breaks.
Yep. It's buying a job, essentially.
With equity.
With equity, yes. It's great for learning the ropes. Then you move to multi-unit. This is where the wealth is generated, the economies of scale kick in.
Right. You stop making the burgers and start managing the managers.
You got it. You can share staff, you get bulk purchasing power. This is where you transition from a shopkeeper to an executive. The skill set changes completely.
And then at the very top of the food chain, Römer describes master rights. This sounded a little strange at first.
It's legitimate, but it's high stakes.
Yeah.
It's basically becoming the franchisor for a specific region.
So you buy the rights for, say, France or just the Pacific Northwest.
And you're responsible for selling franchises to other people in that area. You train them, you support them, you are their headquarters, and you get a cut of their fees.
So you split the royalties with the corporate office.
Exactly. It is high leverage, but the skill set requirement is massive.
Yeah.
You aren't running a store. You are running a logistics and support corporation.
So before you write the check, you really need to look in the mirror. The article calls it a self-audit.
It's vital. Are you a grinder who loves customers? Single unit. Are you a strategist who loves spreadsheets? Multi-unit. Do you have massive capital and want to build an empire? Master rights, don't mix those up.
Speaking of capital, let's talk money. Because the website always lists a price tag. Start your own business for $50,000.
That is never the real number. That is the franchise fee.
Right.
That's just the cover charge to get into the club.
You still have to buy the drinks.
You have to build the bar, leasehold improvements, equipment, inventory. But Römer identifies a hidden killer that takes down more new franchisees than anything else.
Which is?
Working capital.
Okay.
People forget that on day one, you have 0 customers. But you still have 100% of your expenses. Staff needs to be paid. Landlord needs rent.
And the revenue trickle might not match the expense flood for a while.
Exactly. You need a runway. The source suggests a cash buffer of 3 to 6 months of operating expenses sitting in the bank untouched. If you don't budget for that, you will run out of oxygen before you reach the surface.
That is a terrifying but necessary metaphor. And once you are stable, the fees continue. We have royalties and the ad fund.
Right. And listeners often resent the ad fund. They see it as a tax. But you have to view it as an investment. That fund pays for the national TV spots, the digital campaigns. You are paying for brand awareness.
You're outsourcing your marketing department.
That's a great way to put it.
Another risk factor the article touches on is the exit. We assume we'll do this forever, but life happens.
Transfer rights are critical. You are building an asset. Can you sell it? Does corporate have right of first refusal? Can they veto the buyer you find? You need to know how to get out before you get in.
And then there's the tension between consistency and adaptation. The brand wants every location identical, but you might know your local market needs something different.
That is the eternal struggle. If the system is too rigid, you can't adapt. If it's too loose, the brand loses its identity. You need to assess your own personality. If you're a creative maverick, this will feel like a prison.
So let's pull this all together into a strategy. Römer outlines a strategic roadmap.
Yeah.
This isn't something you do on a whim.
No. He breaks it down into 2 phases. Phase 1 is foundational strategy. Set your objectives. What's the ROI you need? What's your lifestyle goal? Phase 2 is execution. Market research and validation.
Validation seems to be the step where rubber meets the road. The article suggests a very specific, somewhat aggressive tactic here.
It's the only tactic that really matters. You need to speak to current franchisees. And this is key. Do not let the sales guy give you the list.
Because they'll just give you their 3 happiest campers.
Exactly. They'll send you to the guys who are crushing it.
Yeah.
You need the truth. You go to the FDD. There is a list of all current owners in the back. Pick 5 random names. Call them.
And what do you ask? Do you like the brand?
No, that's too soft. You ask the hard questions. Are you cash flow positive? How much support does corporate actually give you? And my favorite, if you could go back in time, would you sign this contract again?
That last one is the acid test. If there's a long pause.
The hesitation tells you everything you need to know.
Finally, there's the tech check. We circled back to where we started.
Ensure the brand is future-proof. If they are still running everything on paper or outdated software, they are going to get eaten by the competition. You want a partner who's investing in that tech stack we discussed.
So what does this all mean for the person listening right now? The takeaway here seems to be that franchising has grown up.
It's a serious asset class. It allows a modern professional to deploy capital and leadership skills into a vehicle that has a roadmap. It doesn't remove the work, you still have to execute, but it removes the wandering.
It removes the wandering. I like that. It lets you focus on optimization rather than invention.
And in a world where speed is everything, that head start is invaluable. It helps you stay ahead by leveraging systems that have already solved the problems you would otherwise face alone.
This has been a real eye-opener. I definitely won't look at a franchise logo the same way again. I'll be wondering about their CRM and their item 19.
As you should. It's where the real story is.
Well, that brings us to the end of this deep dive. I hope this has given you a new lens to view this industry, not just as consumers, but as potential investors.
It's a huge world out there with a lot of opportunity if you know where to look.
A massive thank you to you for tuning in to the Smart Keys podcast today. If you found this useful, please hit that subscribe button. We are constantly digging into the future of work, business trends, and how you can optimize your portfolio.
And do yourself a favor, click the link in the show notes and read Felix Romer's full article. We covered the highlights, but the checklists and the detailed FDD breakdown are things you need to see with your own eyes.
Absolutely. Go check it out. Until next time, keep analyzing and keep growing.
Goodbye, everyone.
See you next time.